Welcome to the 15th Floor, a Radiohead reaction podcast where a Gen X father tries to convince his Gen Z son that Radiohead is the greatest band of all time. By introducing him to Radiohead music one song at a time, you're going to hear him react to that song for the first time, and I will get to explain whether he's right or wrong, if he likes it or not. I should have said that in a different order. Who cares?
Probably.
Last video, I did talk about how I wanted to go to Amnesiac. And as I was exploring what I really wanted to do next, I really wanted to give myself a treat and do a song I love that's not off of Amnesiac, but was off the Knives Out single and was originally meant to be released possibly with Amnesiac, but didn't make the cut, which is interesting because, and I think if I have to guess, and I'll ask the boys next time I see them. If I had to guess, I would think it's because it doesn't actually fit the sound that Amnesiac is. Amnesiac, what finally is Amnesiac in 2001, is much more, at that time, very experimental sound. And this song, Cuttooth, the song we're going to listen to, is not that way. It's a little more acceptable to mainstream than Amnesiac allows. I will say, in defense of it right away, that I love Cuttooth. There's so much of it that reminds me of good old-fashioned Radiohead and so much that reminds me of new Radiohead. Of the songs that were released around that time, Cuttooth was very manageable for me. I will warn you already that this song is heavy on the intro, outro, intertro. So you have to appreciate not just the rock of it, but you have to appreciate the process. Cuttooth was suggested by Melchior Aksak, Durabound, and 501st Egg. When I went back to the idea of doing an Amnesiac, I kind of looked at what everyone was suggesting, and I was this close to doing, I might be wrong, but because I really like Tom in that song. But like I said, this was almost, my birthday's coming up again, so I just decided, I'm going to go Cuttooth. It might be time for Cuttooth. So that's what we're doing. So, from the Knives Out single, this is Cuttooth.
It sounds like the instruments are like kind of happy and you kind of like can jam along to it, and it's like something you find in little, I don't know, like a fun happy family band type, like the piano mostly.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. And then he starts singing. We've done this before where he does like everything sounds happy, but then what he's saying is...
That's exactly right. Not just the lyrics, but the harmonizations are so off, yet there. So the first time he says, I will lead a wallpaper life, or Runaway to the Foreign Legion. That Runaway to the Foreign Legion, that harmonization is almost like you've asked someone who's never heard the song, hey, harmonize with this, and it's kind of not found its place. The second time, it's a very classic dual harmonization, and then the a little bit of knowledge will destroy you. That harmonization that is just one note along with the melody. All to say, something about the harmonization adds to the unacceptable message because the melody is kind of fun.
This is probably the song you should have started off with after the huge break.
Okay.
Just to get me back into like, oh yeah, this is Radiohead, and this is a appealing to the ears. Like I know people don't like it when I like when people like songs just because they sound good and like they
That's
don't.
okay.
But right now, to my Gen Z ears, it sounds fun. And it sounds like something, if I wanted to download, I would.
Somebody made a comment on the Everything in Its Right Place video that they got it right away. And hats off to you. But I think you were in the minority. Because I heard that song, I heard Kid A for the first time. And I was like, I got to find my place here. I got to figure this out. Amnesiac, even harder to be immediately appealing. And Cuttooth is interesting that it comes from the same sessions because it's a little more, Radiohead. You will probably not remember the I Don't Know Why I Feel So Tongue-Tied, I Don't Know Why I Feel So Skinned Alive, but we did a song from Hail to the Thief called Myxomatosis quite a while ago, and you might not remember that because I don't think you gave it a great score. I think in general people don't love Myxomatosis, although it's one of my favorites, and it's one of your brother's favorites, your older brother. He reuses that line, he recycles that line. Not a rarity for Radiohead at all. They often have a song, lyrics in a song that are and then don't release that song and reuse those lyrics later, sometimes even tunes later. It's a very common thing, and for us Radiohead fans, we just hear it again and oh yeah, they used it again. And to me, it doesn't bother me one bit. I love it. I love the usage of it in both songs.
Stake and watch it burn in hell.
Cuttooth.
Yep. If you guys saw, just after I played it, I said, I feel like I'm going on an acid trip.
Yeah. Just to be sure, he has no idea what an acid trip really feels like.
I see it on the...
I don't know. You're
fun.
a teenager. You might be doing stuff I don't know about, and you know that's how you learn and grow and stuff like that. Every time you guys are like, "Hey, let's watch this movie that I don't think is appropriate," I'm like, "Hey, don't tell me about it. Just do it without me knowing it. That's how you watch bad movies. Don't tell your parents."
From what I've watched on TV, I just assumed acid. That's a trip.
That's acid trip. Yeah,
A fun one at that. It was fun, and that's all I got. Really,
that's okay.
It was a fun song. I love the instruments in that.
Yeah,
you pointed out the bass. I was able to hear the bass better. What's like someone mentions that there's bass, I can hear the bass.
Yeah,
and then
I admit that I do that on purpose because I know, especially during a long interlude or something where you're just kind of listening, then I can have the chance to point out kind of, oh, there's two pianos there. I was pointing out, okay, there's that piano that's just kind of banging the same chord, and then there's the piano that's the current that you hear the entire time. And then I like to point out bass because that's just one of those things that I don't hear the first time on a lot of songs, and it adds an element that, hey, if you can hear that bass, then you can hear how they're jamming together. And I do that on purpose, not to ruin the effect for you, but to hopefully enhance the effect. And I don't know if people would love that. Maybe they just want me to shut up, but that's not how I'm going to introduce the music. I do like the energy. Tom's energy singing this song is so fun. And I love the piano, which it sounds like there might be an effect on the piano. I'm pretty sure that that's a Rhodes piano, although I can't confirm that exactly because it doesn't sound as Rhodesy as their other usages of the Rhodes piano. But if you remember, the Rhodes piano looks like any other electric piano almost, a keyboard, but it's essentially an amplified piano where when you press the keys, instead of the hammer hitting strings, it hits electric tines, and that creates the sound. So it's got a tingy electric sound to it, but still sounds like a piano, more so than, say, a synthesizer or something like that.
It's always nice to both listen to each instrument individually, but then like at the same time hear it all.
Yeah,
it's
take it in. And that's all that really anybody, even Radiohead fans, can ask of you, is to listen to it and see how it makes you feel, even when you've been wrong. You're not wrong. It's your reaction to that the first listen. You have all your life to go back and become right. I feel like Cuttooth has been a part of my life longer than it has been. This is one of those songs I really cannot nail down the first time I heard Cuttooth. The time would have been college for me, but boy, I was getting ready for grad school. I was when I was in college, I was a nerd. I was studying. I was in the library, and I don't think I was listening to Cuttooth. Although it probably got me through some organic chemistry. That's probably what got me through organic chemistry. Lord knows it wasn't organic chemistry that got me through organic chemistry. What would you give Cuttooth?
Solid 7.5.
7.5 for Cuttooth.
It's fun.
There's something fun about driving in your car singing "I Don't Know Why I Feel So Skinned Alive." There are really no live recordings of Cuttooth. They don't perform it live. It was certainly not the type of music they wanted to perform live at the time that they were touring, playing their Amnesiac and Kid A stuff. I don't know that it ever fit into their live agenda. So yeah, good luck if you've seen them play it live. You saw something special. Let's see what the kids say. Of course, I have the little kids listen to it. They draw pictures about how the song made them feel. My son, he says drum lessons. He said there were a lot of drums. It's a fast-paced rhythmic song, and so I think that's clearly what he hears. And he might even hear the Rhodes piano as another percussion instrument. It just says drums lessons. I think that's an apostrophe S, so it's possessive. And that's the coach, the drum coach. She said it makes me feel gloomy. It makes me feel dark. And so that's her drawing. It's a lot of grays and purples in the sky, and then that tree, very barren tree. And that's great imagery. They draw, and then they come to me and say, this is what I drew. Or sometimes they just leave them on the counter, and then I'm left with, what? And we go with it. The comment from last video we did, again, was everything in its right place. And a lot of great comments. I really need to get to a lot of those comments. I really like, and there were a couple people that did this, especially with that last song, that shared their own personal experiences with the song. And I know that's personal and tough. Maybe not the thing you want to do on the internet. It's hard, but I really enjoy that. I really enjoy when people tell me where they were in their life, what it meant, and especially if it's not so direct, if it's very indirect. This is what was happening, and this is what it always reminds me of. And I love when it doesn't make sense. If you tell me that fake plastic trees reminds you of, fake plastic trees, then I think, no, it doesn't. It didn't do anything to you then. But this comment I have to read because it's not my intention to mock anybody, but I mean, come on. A person commented, meh. Radiohead is not the best rock band ever. I think Singers was too weak, maybe. I don't know. I guess it could be argued. I liked Kid A and Hail to the Thief especially. That's the comment. Now, again, we're all friends here, but and you can be wrong. I mean, you're definitely wrong, but you're allowed to be wrong. But there are some things that when you're so wrong, you need to be mocked, and this might be one. No, I'm kidding. I think Singers was too weak. What are you talking about? Tom York is not weak. You can say a lot of things. You can talk about his droopy eyelid. You can talk about his changing hairstyles. You can talk about his stage presence. You can talk about all sorts of things. I don't know that you can call his vocals weak. It is funny when somebody says Radiohead is not the best rock band ever. Oh, you know what? You're right. They're not the best rock band ever. They're the best band ever. How's the view from your parents' basement? No, I'm kidding. I'm joking, of course. I really appreciate when people are kind and they say kind things. And I feel like I'm a loving, kind person.
What's that one thing that you say at the end? Continue to love one another?
Oh, yeah. I should probably edit this whole part out. But I love this guy. I love this guy for being so wrong. Because if we didn't have such wrong people in the world, we wouldn't appreciate the right. If we didn't have people so confused, we wouldn't appreciate meeting people who've locked it in and got it together. And so I appreciate opposition in all things. And to that person, if you're still watching these videos, thank you so much. And thank you for disagreeing. That's fine. You're allowed to disagree because the world needs to know that people are wrong. And that's fine. I could have picked a zillion other better comments. You guys all had great comments. Why did I pick that one? I don't know. I was just feeling it. Cuttooth made me feel it. Cuttooth did it to me. I learned it by watching you. Thank you for watching our videos. Thank you for subscribing if you haven't already subscribed. We're almost there. We're almost there to 1,000 likes and to 1,000 subscribes. And I don't know what happens when we do. I am a little bit behind on suggestions. I apologize. If you've suggested a Radiohead song, we haven't done it, and you're worried that your votes don't count, doesn't hurt to suggest it again. I'll make sure. I am keeping track of the names too, of course. So don't hesitate to suggest a song that you've already suggested, and we'll get to it. I'll count it as another vote, maybe. Continue to love one another. Keep listening to music together. You're now leaving
the 15th floor.